Well, my friends, my unemployment journey is coming to an end. I have been unemployed for 4 months to the day, voluntarily, and now I'm going back to work. So I got a job this week. That's it. I just wanted to kind of give myself a little bit of a report card for the unemployment experience. And just to go over what worked, what didn't work, what I would do differently. Let's do an autopsy on my 4 months of voluntary unemployment. First off, physical health. My physical health, I would give myself a D+. I did not improve my physical health hardly at all. I improved my diet, there's no doubt about that, but I kind of offset that with days of bed rotting, fuddy-duddying around, doing nothing, relaxing. If you want to put it in the best possible light, relaxing. But honestly, even with taking daily walks, getting 10,000 steps in a day, I still didn't improve my physical health as much as I would like. Mental health, B+. I'm giving myself a B+. I think my mental health went way up, especially in the first few months. The first 2 months, I was sleeping better, my anxiety was lower, and just generally I felt a lot better about the world. Physical was disappointment. Mental was definitely a big improvement. Like everything, it tapers off. You kind of enter that honeymoon stage of being unemployed, and you're like, oh great, I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have anyone, calling me, asking where's this, where's that. I can kind of do things at my own pace, but that goes hand in hand with keeping yourself accountable. So I did improve my mental health. My anxiety is definitely lower, so I'd give myself a B+. Now, time management. I'm going to give myself a C+ on this. There were days and there were weeks where I got a lot done. Visiting my dad, we got a lot done out there. Working on my website, working on my photo business, got a lot done there. And then again, there'd be days or weeks where I would let them just slip away, basically. I wouldn't have a plan, and we talk about this a lot on this channel. If you don't have a plan, things are just if you don't plan for something, it's not gonna happen. And that was a situation where, as the summer kind of wore on, my plans became more malleable, more optional, rather than when I first started, I was pretty rigid about the plans that I wanted to do. So I don't know if that's just like a product of just, okay, maybe in the back of my mind I was like, okay, you better get back to work, you better get, a decent income going again. That might be part of it, but time management, C+, B-. It was kind of wishy-washy. Some weeks would be super productive and I'd get a lot done and I would make progress, and then some weeks were just like, they would pass just like I was on when I was employed. It'd just be like, man, it's Friday again. The days are just flying by. So C+, B- on that. So what do we got? We got physical health, D+, mental health, B+, and time management, C+. Next up, let's go for social. Let's just give that an overall social score. I'd say my social life has improved somewhat, but that's only as a byproduct of me having the freedom to do what I want day to day and meeting more people as opposed to going to a job every day, basically. I wouldn't say I'm involved in any more things than I was. I'm trying to get involved. I've been on a few hikes this summer, that kind of thing, but nothing has really stuck. And I think this is a thing that's really that's seriously plaguing my generation right now, is finding continual sources of social engagement and finding friends, finding acquaintances that are going to be lasting, rather than just, you go on a hike one day and you never see them again. In terms of the social aspect, in terms of my family, so let's do a two-pronged thing. For social, that I'd give myself a B-. I did meet a lot more people this summer. I was a lot more open to experiences this summer. Family, I'd say B+. B+ for sure. We grew a lot this summer. I really am trying to help my sister a lot. They're going through a really tough time. And just being available for them was nice. That was a good change of pace. I mean, I would try to be available when I could, when I was working full time, but it just wasn't the same. And same thing with my dad. instead of normally, going out for a night or two, 2 or 3 nights, I'd go out for like 4 or 5 nights, and we get a lot of work done and, build our relationship, and so there is a lot of satisfaction in that. So I'd say the family side B+, and the actual social, I'd go B- probably. So yeah, I'm happy to be heading back to work. I really am. I didn't settle for a bad job. It's a good job with a nice big company, regional company, good benefits. The whole application and interview process went really well. So I was glad to be vindicated in that regard, where when every interaction with the company was very positive. And when I went in for my in-person interview, and after I got out of it, I thought, oh man, I totally nailed it. And I'm pretty sure I did. This job is one listing for a very good logistics job here in Medford. And I can only imagine how many people applied for this job, and there was one spot, and I got it, thankfully. So I felt really good about that. I felt vindicated in the fact that when I wasn't just like kind of deluding myself into thinking everything went well and I was putting my best foot forward. It turns out I was. So that feels good. Now, I haven't done one, work hasn't started yet, so it could turn into a complete nightmare, but I sincerely doubt it. This company has a good reputation. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a problem. Happy with the 4 months. Is there room for improvement? Yes, there's always room for improvement. Physical health. Man, I'm not much of a self-starter. It's starting to dawn on me. I'm not much of a self-starter, and that's a problem. I gotta find something. I gotta make something click. You know what I mean? Because, man, I definitely thought I'd just be rocking and rolling by this time in the summer and just back in some kind of shape. I didn't lose that much weight. So, and I feel a little better, but that's just due to how much rest I've been getting, if that makes any sense. So yeah, physical health, mental health, good. Time management, wishy-washy. Nothing was like stellar about the summer. And I think that all comes down to planning. I should have had more of a concrete plan before I quit. There's no doubt about that. I should have had more of a plan. But also, I was glad that I didn't fall into the scarcity mindset and hold on to a job that I just was really unhappy in. Unhappy, unfulfilled, couldn't see the future, couldn't see, what my future was at the company. So yeah, that was a relief too. So there's always room for improvement. If I ever do pull this kind of move again, which I don't know if I will, but I will definitely put more thought into what a day is going to look like. What kind of healthy routine can I get into? Rather than just kind of letting the days happen and kind of tackling each day as it comes. There's something to be said for being so flexible and having that total freedom, but without some kind of routine, you can get lost just letting the days slip away, until something prompts you to do something, and then you do it, that kind of thing. So if I did it again, I would definitely plan more. But overall, I'd give myself a B- for the summer. So got some of my goals taken care of, did some stuff for my family, and I'm happy with that. But I am happy to be I'm very glad to be heading into a job this fall. I did not want to be without one. I think this fall is going to be very difficult to find a job. And when I mean very difficult, I mean nearly impossible to find a good job. Medford, the median income is around $34,000. You can get that kind of job here. You can find a job pretty easily around here for that money. But if you want anything near like $50,000, $55,000, that's going to be really tough. That's going to be really hard. One thing I would say, if you still have a job right now, work your butt off to get out of debt. We went over this so many times in this channel, but getting out of debt is the most freeing thing you can do. It's the only reason I could take 4 months off the way I did. It's because I have no bills and I'm out of debt. I don't have a car note. My rent is cheap. These kind of things you don't really think about when you're in just the 9-to-5 lifestyle. But then you think, well, the credit card's just a reality of it, and it doesn't have to be. And the level of freedom you can get and the level of flexibility you can get if you're out of debt is unimaginable. If you know what I'm talking about, if you've ever been in debt and gotten out of a large amount of debt before. You know, it affords you so much freedom and flexibility where you're not tied to a job. If you have a bad job and you don't like it, get out of debt, you know, save a few bands and quit, and give yourself more flexibility and let yourself breathe for a month or 6. But right now would not be a good time to leave that job, unless you just absolutely can't stand it. But I would not advise that. I would not advise leaving a job right now. I would advise buckling down and cutting your expenses and finding ways to sock away extra money wherever you can. Picking up side gigs, that's a huge one. In this day and age, you have to have a side gig. If you're making the immediate income for your area, you need a side gig. And everyone says, well, DoorDash. I'm unconvinced on DoorDash. I'm unconvinced on Uber Eats. I'm unconvinced on these delivery apps because you are putting an insane amount of wear and tear on your vehicle. And you're going to be in such a bad spot if you drop a transmission in your car or truck. If you have to do a major repair, it's going to wipe out a lot of the money you made doing the deliveries. I'd get a side gig. I'd get a skilled side gig. Seriously, I would think about that. So stay in your current job this fall and winter and get a side gig, figure something out, and just stack that cash. Get out of debt. If you are in debt, get out of debt. If you're an individual and you're unmarried and you're in, let's say, $15,000, $20,000 in credit card debt and you have good credit, shop around, get it consolidated, get a balance transfer it all to one, and hold yourself accountable. There will be a transfer fee and all that, but I'm a firm believer in the balance transfer because if nothing else, it keeps you accountable. It's going to keep you accountable. So yeah, that's what I would do. So I'm glad to be heading back to work. If you have a job, I'd love to hear about it down below. What are your plans for the fall? What are your plans for the winter in terms of making money, in terms of keeping your head above water in this crazy time of inflation and uncertainty? What are you doing to find your peace financially? I'd love to hear it down below. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And we'll see you in the next one.